All right, y'all. Welcome to the Hunker Download. I'm Wes Blankenship. Jake Rowe joining me for a quick download on what's going on with the Georgia Bulldogs, the defending national champion in all the land twice over. Jake, I keep seeing these narratives on social media, seen them really since January of 2022, that essentially it's just easier for Georgia to win a national championship and easier for Georgia to win back-to-back national championships than it is for most teams because the schedule's so soft. The crowd isn't exciting, but they don't need to be because all the teams that come in there are, AAA high school teams essentially. So I keep coming back to a quote, man, that you've brought up multiple times when we've gathered and spoken about the team. And Amarius Mims said that if you're going to play at Georgia, you have to have a why that is bigger than football, not just the skull session why of, knowing what your guys play for, your teammates. But you've got to have a bigger reason than just this game, because when you play in Athens, it's hard.
That's a bigger reason why Georgia's won back-to-back championships than receivers getting hurt or soft schedules or whatever. To me, listen, the wind blows harder at the top of the mountain. I don't think you necessarily think the wind's going to blow harder in terms of excuses. And folks are trying to excuse away what Georgia's done the past 2 years. But what Amarius Mims said is the reason why Georgia's won 2 titles. No, player to player, it's not easy at all. It's really not easy. It hasn't been easy in terms of the schedule. It hasn't been easy in terms of some of the things that some of the situations Georgia has put itself in. You look at the SEC championship game, and everybody wants to talk about, well, Georgia's gotten this break and Georgia's gotten that break. Well, Georgia got a back to the wall Alabama team in the SEC championship game, one that was wounded, one that got all the rat poison it could possibly eat all week long, and it beat Georgia. I'm not going to make an excuse for the way Georgia lost. I'll make an excuse for Stetson Bennett that night, because while he didn't play his best game, there was he tied the game up at, I believe, 21 and didn't get the ball back until he was down 35-21 in that game.
Had the best statistical game in his career there for a while.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and so I'll make an excuse for him in that game, but Georgia just got beat. They got beat by a team that wanted it more, that was in better shape, everything. Georgia circled the wagons. They came back. Now, did Alabama have a loss or two personnel-wise? Absolutely, and that affected the game. It sure did. Colt McCoy getting hurt when Alabama won its first title under Nick Saban also had a big effect on that game. So, those things happen. But Georgia Georgia had a tough team to get through there, and it put itself in a position that it could still make the playoff by losing that game. Well, what did everybody say? Wes, can you remind me what everybody said in the first round of the playoff this year in the college football semifinal about Ohio State and how Georgia could not have faced a worse opponent? I didn't think they caught very much of a break with that one either. So, I think we can kind of quiet the narrative of all this easiness and Georgia's just had 2 titles given to it.
Yeah, there's nothing easy about winning back-to-back national championships. There's nothing easy about doing it in the SEC. And then let's say Georgia three-peats. Let's say Georgia wins, 3 out of 4, 3 out of 5. Or maybe they go a couple years after the expanded playoff, after the expanded SEC, and they don't win one. Heaven forbid that happens. People will be losing their minds in our neck of the woods if that's the case. But then what's the narrative going to be? Oh, Georgia didn't do it when there were more teams in the playoff. Georgia didn't do it when Texas and Oklahoma were in the SEC and the divisions looked different. Look, I don't know if Georgia's just gotten luckier than everybody. I don't think they have. But after all of the teams we've seen Georgia put together that did run up against the legendary career of Nick Saban, I think if Georgia did find a way to get lucky here and there, maybe they were due. That's all I'll say about that.
It happens, man. We saw it happen in the PGA Championship on Sunday. Brooks Koepka got a couple of breaks. You saw it happen. You see it happen anytime you watch a golf tournament or a major event. You need some breaks to win titles. It's about that. But I'll say this too, and I'll take my shotgun and blow some shoot some bird shot and poke some holes into another argument, which is the fact that Georgia has, from an easy standpoint, from kind of catching a break standpoint, that the schedule, just in terms of like they've dodged this team in the SEC and they've dodged that team in the SEC. listen, it's been hard to find a team that has had to go up against the upstart good football team in the league more often the last couple of years than Georgia has. Tennessee was the upstart number one. Now they got them in Athens. They got Arkansas in Athens. But everybody was talking about, well, that's an easy one. That's an easy game. Those teams ended up being two pretty good football teams too. So Georgia seems to also be running up against the upstarts, and it seems to be handling the upstarts kind of like Alabama was handling them back in the day as well.
Yeah, I've been on the record to say, y'all make fun of Georgia's schedule now. Just wait until October, November. Wait until September. They go play at Auburn, and their teeth are a little bit sharper than people expect. The SEC just always finds a way for a team to shake out that's better than you expect. Maybe it's Ole Miss that's giving Georgia a game between the hedges when no one expects them to. It just happens in the league. That's the way it goes sometimes. And for Tennessee fans specifically, they've been able to overcome Bama finally this past season, but they were complaining for a long time about having to play Alabama every year. Well, Georgia was playing Alabama a lot of seasons too, maybe when the Tide wasn't on the schedule, but they were meeting up with them in the SEC championship or the national championship. So a more circuitous route for sure, but Georgia was still running up, like I said, against the historic era of Alabama football. And maybe, no pun intended here, maybe that tide is starting to turn in Georgia's favor. We'll see. You mentioned the PGA Championship. I want to get your take on this really quick before we wrap up. Michael Block and Stetson Bennett. When you look at those guys, who would you rather be for a weekend? Would you rather be Block or would you rather be Bennett leading your team to victory over a highly matched opponent in Sanford Stadium?
I'd have to go with Stetson Bennett. I think, that – I don't know, though, man. That Michael Block – I love golf. I love it so much. I got chill bumps. I got tears in my eyes, watching that Michael Block thing, especially that interview after. Honestly, I think I would take Michael Block, and this is why. I'm a dad, and Michael Block's a dad. And having your kids involved and his kid sending that video into Amanda, I can't remember her last name now, but it used to be Balionis. I can't remember what she changed.
I'm not sure what her name is now.
Yeah,
Balionis. Everyone knows her as Balionis.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's the best at what she does. I hope I'm as good as anything as she is at that. But her kind of recalling that video or bringing in that video that his son shot, man, to have my kids involved in something like that, to have them be there. Stetson, I don't think has any kids that he knows about. So, and that's not a shot at Stetson, by the way. I just always like saying that about guys who don't have kids.
No, I think everyone's in on the joke.
But no, I think just as a dad myself of three, understanding that they can be a part of that they can pitch in, and that kind of made me emotional right there just thinking about that. So I'm trying not to cry right now.
Yeah, just dry up those tears. I thought it was amazing, and now he's going to get to play again. An emotional video is.
What's the context of that photo right there, by the way? I feel like we're about to go 30 minutes here, but what's the context? What is he doing up there with the winner?
That was what I was about to say about why you'd want to be Michael Block. Michael Block didn't even have to win anything, and everybody loves him. Stetson Bennett won 2 championships, and everyone who isn't a dog hates him.
Well, Stetson Bennett won 1 championship, and everybody hated him.
Yeah,
most Georgia fans hated him. So he had to come and win 2 to earn the love of his own people. So Michael Block, no doubt.
Deep state of the PGA Tour distracting us all from the live golfer Brooks Koepka winning the PGA Championship. All right, you knew we were going to get some golf in there somehow. Appreciate it, Jake. Catch you soon. Hit like and subscribe on this YouTube channel. We are live on the Georgia Show every Wednesday and Sunday at 8:30 p.m. and on Bark After Dark Mondays at 9. Catch you then.